died. It has been said that nothing could have reached Benghazi before the lethal mortar attacks. And I suppose what is meant by that is nothing other than the 2 unarmed drones and the team from Tripoli that deployed itself. What is missing in that analysis, but is pretty simple and straightforward to those of us who have been investigating it for the last 2 years, is nothing could have reached Benghazi because nothing was ever headed to Benghazi. No U.S. military asset was ever deployed to Benghazi despite the order of the Secretary of Defense at 7 o'clock that night. So Washington had access to real-time information, but yet somehow they thought the fighting had subsided. Washington had access to real-time information, but somehow they thought these fighters were going to evacuate, even without the remains of the ambassador, and without asking how is that evacuation supposed to be effectuated? How were you supposed to get from the annex to the Benghazi airport? Because it took you almost 3 hours to get from the airport to the annex. Who is supposed to take you? So those are the decisions being contemplated and discussed in Washington. And this mistaken belief that there was an evacuation that was imminent without asking the pretty fundamental question of how do you expect us to effectuate this evacuation? Washington had access to real-time information, but that real-time information did not inform and instruct the decisions made in Washington. After Secretary Panetta ordered assets deployed to help our men, the White House convened a 2-hour meeting, and perhaps nothing shows the contrast between what was happening in Benghazi and what was happening in Washington than that 2-hour civets White House meeting and the summaries and the readouts that came from it. So it is true, nothing could have reached Glenn Doherty and Ty Woods before they were killed because nothing was ever going toward Glenn Doherty and Ty Woods. And it is worth noting that that statement would be true had the mortar attacks taken place at 7:15 a.m. or 9:15 a.m. or even at lunchtime on the 12th. Because at the time those 2 Americans were killed, not a single wheel of a single U.S. military asset had even turned toward Libya.